Nation, it is day 23. It is day 23. Almost 1/3 of the way, right? Yeah, almost 1/3 of the challenge. Done. Basically 1/3. Tomorrow, officially 1/3. Over 1/3. Numbers, you got, there's one person who wrote me, and you know who you are. You wrote me in Slack, and I do have to adjust your numbers, so I will do that. The rest of you should be good, but listen, I know some of you are struggling with your numbers, so I'll get to message of the day and address that, okay? Okay. I just sneezed before this video, and now all of a sudden I'm congested, or I sound congested. All right, somebody posted something. It was a private message to me, I believe, so I will not mention their name, although it doesn't really matter. I mean, it doesn't. I don't need to mention their name is what I mean. Anyways, and so they want to know their app. This is their, I can't remember what app this is. Their heart rate monitor app, I think, is telling them the amount of fat that they burned. When they did, I guess they did some walking, they did some cycling. So this is, there's no way of really knowing this, and so it's really just an estimation, and this is based off of, at least largely off of the heart rate that you're working at. So in theory it makes sense that if you work at a lower heart rate, you will burn a greater percentage of fat as fuel, which kind of makes sense, right? Because the more, the higher your heart rate goes, the more energy you are requiring, right? Like you're doing more work, right? I think you can all understand that in order to raise your heart rate more and more, you have to expend more energy to make that happen, right? And so if you're expending more energy per unit of time, so let's just say you're expending more energy per second, that energy has to come from somewhere, and it needs to be immediately available. And so, it stands to reason that you will burn more glucose, because glucose is the most readily available form of energy. So you will burn more sugar, okay? And your body can't go through the process of breaking down the fat and turning that fat into usable energy that quickly. So inevitably you burn less fat by when you're doing more intense exercise. Now, you're burning more calories, okay? You're burning more calories, but you're not burning as great a percentage of fat during that period of time. Whereas if you were doing a lower percentage, you're burning less calories per unit of time, but because the demand for energy isn't so high, the body can break down more fat and make that available for energy. All right, so this is why your app, this is where part of the, or maybe all of the estimation of the amount of fat that you burned comes from. Okay. Although it's really interesting that it said 18%, I just wrote this down, maybe I wrote it down wrong, but it said 18% fat burning for walking and 33% fat burning for cycling, because I think that the walking would be less intense. So anyways, bottom line is, it's an estimation, it's a guess. It doesn't know. Okay, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. Okay. On the flip side of things, just to talk about cardio, and when we do these interval rates, these high intervals, sorry, there is this what we call this EPOC, right? This, you may have heard me say that before, this excessive post-oxidation consumption after exercise that happens when you put enough intensity into exercise. Well, I guess there is no hard line for it. So you're just going to get more EPOC if you go really hard, or if you go harder. So, essentially if you go hard enough, you're going to create enough EPOC to have this sustained or elevated well, I guess you could say metabolism, right? Post-exercise, because your body is still basically churning. It's still, it is still having to basically go through metabolism, which is essentially the production of energy, right? So, and things have to be broken down for that to happen, okay? And that happens more through epoch, all right? So, or I should say, that happens more through like hard training. So just think of like, if you do lots of hard cardio, you're gonna have this more energy burning afterwards, okay? In theory, if you do easier cardio, you're not gonna have that, okay? All right, I probably made that just way too complicated. Just remember this: you go easier, you burn less calories overall, but you burn a greater percentage of fat of those calories that were burned. If you go really hard, you'll burn more calories overall, but a less percentage of that will be fat burned. In theory, right? Okay, 6 minutes. Bulking versus leaning down. I know I talked about this yesterday, and I just wanted to like kind of unify this or simplify it because I really went off yesterday about it. Basically, any form of exercise will not bulk you up. All right, so I just want to say that again. Any form of exercise, doesn't matter how heavy you train, okay, or how light you train, it will not bulk you up. The only way you bulk up is by eating. Okay. Now, that's not to say if you eat a reasonable amount of calories, like say what I've given you, and your weight training, are you going to gain some muscle? Yes, you will. Okay. So if you consider that bulk, then I guess, yeah, you're going to bulk up. But really, when people talk about bulk, they're not talking about muscle tissue, because I don't think anybody really has an issue with putting on some lean muscle tissue. I think people are referring to, like, you're either gaining one or both of two things, right? You're gaining either muscle or fat or both. So, bulking usually refers to the putting on muscle and fat. Okay, so exercise will not put on fat. Only eating will put fat on you. All right, and that is by definition at least part of bulking. So you have to eat to bulk. Okay, you don't have to train to bulk. Is my point. Okay. In fact, training will take away from bulking. Just lie around all day and eat. You will bulk up, believe me. All right, 8 minutes in. Message of the day: progression over perfection. Progression over perfection. So listen, I know a lot of you are not perfect in this challenge, although I know a few of you claim that you are. You're doing everything that you say. Macros are on point, cardios are in, and you're getting 3 classes in per week. If you're doing that, kudos to you. You're doing really good, and obviously the results show. But for those of you who are not, and there are a lot of you, and this is the way it usually goes, by the way, so, you can always improve, right? You can always improve. So look at ways at improving every week, even if they're small things. But make them specific, just like when I ask you what to improve upon for the week. Don't give me things like more sleep, okay? Yeah. Like, if you're going to talk about sleep, then say to me, listen, I'm going to, on Tuesday night, I'm going to make sure I'm in bed at this time, and then I'm going to sleep till this time. Okay, that's the goal at least. Because, who knows what will happen. But, you need to put in specifics. I've said this once, I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. You need to put in specifics, all right? So when you are working towards improving whatever, this week number 4, it's got to be something tangible. It's got to be something specific, okay? Or else there's just no, there's no specifics about it. So, it's hard to be accountable to something that's not specific, because you gotta be specific to make it, we gotta make something happen. So, let's be specific about these things. Makes it easier. Okay, that's it. Submit, commit. I'll get some questions tomorrow, or some more questions, I should say, including one that was posted in Slack. Did I ever tell you to submit, commit? I'll tell you again, submit and commit. Positive energy, positive vibes, give some gratitude. And for the love of God, believe in yourself. I will talk to you guys all soon. Day 23 in the books, day 24 coming up tomorrow. Over 1/3 of this challenge done. If you're not in it yet, let's get more into it. Progression, 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 improvement, improvement, improvement. Let's work towards perfection. Maybe never getting to perfection, but let's work towards it, okay? I'll talk to you guys all soon. See ya.